Hey, this is Kara Beltran.
And Ray Beltran.
We're with the Beltran Group. We are a family of mortgage loan originators out here in the state of Hawaii. So we thought we would start sharing with our friends and our viewers how it is that what inspired us to get into the real estate investment game. So I thought that it would be appropriate for us to take you all the way back to when we were kids and the influence that we received from our parents to become future homeowners. So I'm going to have Ray tell you his story.
Well, growing up, we migrated from Texas up to California, Northern California. And I think I was about 4 or 5 when my folks bought their first home. And it's been home ownership ever since. We've had, when I was growing up, 3 different homes to live in. So pretty stable. And then from there, Kara and I were able to progress in the purchase of our homes.
When I first met Ray in 1978 and we were dating, I realized right off the bat that his parents owned a lot of properties because Ray would often be busy going with his father to different rental properties in order to help him get plumbing done, get expansion work done, whatever. So that was during the initial 6 months of dating Ray. I realized, wow, this guy's pretty busy with properties that his family owned. And that led to us renting one of his parents' home that about a year after we were married, his mother said to me and Ray that we needed to do what?
We needed to buy a house.
She said, you need to buy a house. You're going to start with this house and you're going to start with this house. So our very first street address was in San Jose, California. It was 115 McCreary Avenue. His parents were very generous and they sold it to us for their cost of $78,000. They knocked down the old house. They moved a new house, well, an old new house that was from the San Jose Municipal Airport expansion. They bought a house for $35,000. So that plus the cost to move it on there, they were in at $78,000. And at that time, the interest rate was like, I don't know, I think my recollection is that it was like 17%, 30-year fixed. But fortunately, the cost was $78,000, and our mortgage payment was about how much?
About $975.
And we used to pay how much rent?
Oh, rent started out like at $450, but slowly it was climbing. So by the time we were owners about a year, rents were like over $1,000 for the same type of property.
But we were fortunate because we got the family discounted rent. His mother and father were very generous and they let us rent from them for like $500. And she said to Ray, listen, you can afford to meet this $975 expense. And then she started to explain to us about the advantage of tax write-offs. And so we did that. So we put our fear aside, we got pre-approved, and fortunately with his job and my part-time job, we were able to pre-qualify. And in looking back, now that I know everything that anyone would want to know who's been in the business for nearly 4 decades about mortgage financing, in looking back, although I was only like 19 years old, well, I was like 18 and a half to be precise, when we qualified for that first purchase. The reason why the loan officer was able to use my then income, even though I was only out of high school for 6 months, looking back, it was because I had a history of working since I was 16 years old. So with that history, when I was 16, by the time I was 18 and a half, she could use that income that I had to put with his income. Of course, he had been working a lot longer, because he's been alive a little bit longer than I am. But at any rate.
So, the bottom line is purchasing properties has been the greatest thing we've done in our married life, financially. And it's not for the weak of heart. Things go wrong, plumbing goes out, electrical needs. But in the long run, the investment, the properties that we've owned has paid off 100 times, 100-fold. So, it's not for the lazy person, I guarantee you that. You really got to work hard, diligent, keep your properties up to snuff, just like you would a car. You got to wash your car, vacuum it, change the oil, maintenance. And that's the same thing on a house, but on a higher scale, a bit of a different level. But, what is it now? 35 years later, And you know, I mean, looking back, when you start with nothing and then now what you have, it's just incredible. I know, of course, the earlier you start, the better. So all of our children have been taught that, you know, homeownership is the way to go. It doesn't work when you're paying somebody else's mortgage, right? So do whatever you can, and what I mean by that is sometimes you got to work, you know, a part-time job after your full-time job. Sometimes you got to eat, you know, just chicken and string beans for dinner for several months. You got to be creative, you know, raise your own vegetables, your own poultry, whatever you got to do. But eventually, once you get past that hump and you become a homeowner, and then it just continues to multiply. So how many properties have we owned over the years?
I would venture to say maybe 20 properties over our 44 years of, well, going on 45 years of marriage. So you just have to be relentless. But the most important,
45, sorry.
the most important message that we can convey to you is to put your fear aside and just get into the real estate investment game and start with just one step, which is to get pre-approved. So like I said, we're a family of mortgage loan originators. It's our job to sit down, talk story with people, figure out what their personal finances are like and what we have to do in order to structure things in your finance world so that we can make it possible, better than possible, highly probable for you to get into home ownership. So put your hesitation, put your fear aside, make the phone call, get pre-approved today, and then the rest, as they say, will be history.
Good luck.
Have a good day.